What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we've got another fine product from Civivi Knives. Here on the tabletop at Baz on Blades, we've got the Civivi Knives Appalachian Drifter 2. And this video, this in-depth tabletop review is going to cover the evolution of this design from Civivi Knives, and I'm going to tell you up front, this is going to be highly recommended. I'm going to love on this knife all through the video. Don't worry, I am wearing a condom, and everything will be okay, even 9 months from now. So, the Appalachian Drifter 2. Like I said, this is an evolution of a design that started with the lockback Rustic Gent. We had the lockback Rustic Gent, a gentleman's carry lockback. This one in micarta and carbon fiber, D2 for your blade steel. Then we had the second iteration, and that was the continuance of the Rustic Gent lockback in stainless Damascus with a different type of micarta. Again, carbon fiber bolster, a lockback. Beyond that, we had the flipper non-locking double detent Appalachian Drifter. So we've moved from the Rustic Gent to the Appalachian Drifter, which is a flipper on a bearing pivot. It is a dual detent, non-locker, beautiful, beautiful Damascus pattern there. Carbon fiber G10 laminate in a rose pattern. Now we have the continuing evolution of this design, this little clip point traditional design in the Appalachian Drifter 2, and they are all the same profile. Beautiful, beautiful modern clip point blade design, wonderful sort of traditional handle design, again in a micarta with carbon fiber bolsters. And let's go ahead and we will bring in the packaging for this traditional standard Civivi packaging here. This is what you're looking at. This particular one, dark brown matrix micarta handle with twill carbon fiber bolster, satin finished CPM S35vn blade liner lock. So, in this evolution, we have seen the Rustic Gent lockback in D2. We've seen the Rustic Gent lockback in Civivi's proprietary stainless Damascus. And we've seen the Appalachian Drifter non-locking double detent in the stainless Damascus as well. And now we've got the Appalachian Drifter 2 in CPM S35vn. So, let's talk about specs on this, get the numbers out of the way, then we will cover this knife and talk about the build, the fit and finish, the materials, the action, and all that crazy stuff that we love about knives. So, like I say, they're all the same size. We're looking at a 2.9 inch blade length. That's about 7.5 centimeters. Your blade stock thickness, 100 thousandths of an inch or 2.5 millimeters. The blade width at the widest point, 810 thousandths of an inch or 20.5 millimeters. Your handle length, 3 7/8 of an inch, slightly less than 10 centimeters. The handle thickness, 496 thousandths of an inch or 12.6 millimeters. Your handle width at the widest, 830 thousandths of an inch or 21 millimeters. The closed width, 1.2 inches or 29.7 millimeters. Overall length, 6 3/4 of an inch and right at 17 centimeters. Stock pin diameter is approximately what the blade stock thickness is, about 100 thousandths of an inch. Behind the edge thickness on this hollow ground CPM S35vn blade, 17 thousandths of an inch or 0.43 millimeters. Your handle to blade ratio 0.75, and your weight 2.4 ounces or 68 grams. So well within that 1 ounce per inch of blade length ratio we like to see. All right. So, I suppose you have already seen that this is a front flipper, and you know Baz on Blades is not super duper big on front flippers, and I'm still not, although, you know, this is not bad. This sort of this rounded over bullnosy type of opening system for a front flipper, and I just screwed that up. But I'm trying to work underneath the camera here, guys. I'll do better next time, I promise. It is on a bearing detent, and it is very smooth. It is not drop shut smooth because this blade weighs next to nothing. 100 thousandths stock thickness on this. That aggressive hollow grind on it. There's just not a lot of weight left there. So you get the smoothness of the feel of bearings, but it's not going to drop shut smooth, and that's okay. With this gentleman's carry here, I don't have an issue with that. Let's talk about material. Blade steel, S35vn. That is a crucible steel. It was developed in conjunction with Chris Reeves of CRK Knives. It is an improvement on S30V, and I think the general consensus is they're so very similar as far as edge retention, wear resistance. It's hard to tell the difference. There's sort of an argument as to which one is better, and it's really hard to tell the difference. The way I use knives, I've got so many to carry. I hardly ever carry one for a great length of time and dull the blade. But generally the consensus is edge retention, wear resistance for CPM S35vn might not be quite as good as S30vn, but impact resistance, toughness is improved. It's going to be less chippy. You're going to be able to run it a little higher in its Rockwell scale and not get the chippiness on thinner grinds, and then it's got good corrosion resistance. S35vn is like the general use premium stainless blade steel for American manufacturers, for Chinese manufacturers that want to have just a very good performing stainless steel. Like I say, you're going to get good to very good edge retention, very good impact resistance, and good corrosion resistance. So onto the handle. Like all of the iterations of the Rustic Gent and Appalachian Drifter, for the most part, these are a bolstered build with carbon fiber for your bolster. You can see both sides here. You've got micarta for the handle, and look at this micarta, guys. I hope I'm getting enough light on this. This is a very rich, dark, sort of dark mahogany-esque micarta. It's this brown-black micarta, and it is absolutely wonderful looking. I think it's probably my favorite of all the micartas that have been used on these models so far. It doesn't give you the dynamic pop of the lighter stuff against the carbon fiber. You can see it's not as standout. It's a more subdued look, but just the look of that micarta is just it's just very, very rich and wonderful looking. Stainless for your small parts. Again, Civivi is using T8 across the board on this knife, except for the pocket clip screws, which are T6. It does have a deep carry, folded stainless steel pocket clip, stainless liner lock. Again, ceramic bearings on the detent, ceramic detent ball. And let's see. Oh, and they've used the matching micarta for the back spacer, and that it just looks wonderful, guys. It gives it a very rich look. And I like the back spacer incorporating the pass-through for the lanyard. It's sort of hidden away there, and it's not going through the handle where the thickness of the lanyard is going across the handle. It's just going through the center part right here. And I'm not big on using a lanyard, but if I was going to use a lanyard, I very much prefer that type of joint as far as affixing the lanyard to it. Very nice as far as materials. And now let's talk about the price that you are paying for that material. This particular model, again, White Mountain knives, guys. White Mountain knives. I don't make a penny from them, but I use them almost all the time anymore. The price for this was $93.50. You take a 10% discount, you're looking at $84.15. Now, there is two different colors of micarta on this. There's a lighter, I think they're calling it snakeskin micarta. I think it's more like a combination of this type of micarta with the brown matrix, so you get the light with some dark in it for contrast. It'll be the same price as this one. And then there's three versions that are using a carbon fiber compound material. It's not really like this. It is, it's a carbon fiber. There's a version that's got carbon fiber and then it's got red in it. There's a version that's got carbon fiber with blue in it. And then there's a version that's got carbon fiber with like black in it. And, you know, on this traditional design, I much preferred this micarta rather than those carbon fiber models because that's a very modern looking material. Now, those will be in their stainless Damascus, and they are a little more expensive. They were between $114 and $119. After discount, that would be $102 to $107. Now, I think the two micarta versions with S35vn down at $84 with discount is a much better deal, and that's the reason I went with this. It's got the premium steel with premium performance at a slightly lower price. And again, this micarta, guys, is just absolutely, it's very impressive. It's stunning. It's just so rich looking. So there are your materials. I think that is everything. Let's go on to fit and finish. We're going to look at this satin finish as ground, satin finish blade, very even. You do have this long fuller / nail nick, which is bead blast down in it. Then everything else, flats and grinds, are satin. The grinds are even, including the primary grind. The detail grinds like the swedge grind, everything's even from side to side. Very well done. Let's take a look at that secondary edge. Secondary edge, guys, side to side. And very, very pointy, piercy. Instantly catches and pierces with very little pressure. No pressure. Just touching off on it starts a piercing with that tip. Very thin, guys. Of course, at 100 thousandths, 2.5 millimeters on your blade stock thickness. After this grind with the clip point, which is generally going to be thinner at the tip, this is not going to be a hard working knife. Again, I consider all of these models to be gentlemen's carry knives and, you know, moderate use knives. All right, so the fit and finish on the blade, perfectly fine, guys. There's no billboarding on it. In fact, I never even looked to see if the blade steel is marked on it. I don't know if it is. Let's see if we can see anywhere. I don't even see anywhere that that is marked. It might be just covered up. Not even marked, guys. So absolutely no markings, no billboardings at all, unless I'm just not seeing it because my eyesight is so bad. All right, on to the handle. We're going to get super close right here, and you can see, if that's not blurry, that looks blurry to me, guys. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that focus. There is absolutely no feel of joiner here, except for the feel of going from the weave of the micarta to the smoother carbon fiber here. It is perfectly smooth, perfectly jointed. The micarta is finished perfectly all the way around. It is wonderfully, wonderfully done. All of these knives, the Rustic Gents, the Appalachian Drifters, all 4 examples that I have in hand, there are 0 issues with fit and finish on any of them. I said in one of the other reviews, when I look at these knives, I can tell the people on the manufacturing processes for these knives actually care about the quality of these knives. They care about the quality, and that shows. So fit and finish, 0 issues there. Wonderful looking materials, and we will go on to action. Again, it is a liner lock, bearing pivot. The centering straight down the center, if that's aspect ratio is allowing that. The lockup is solid. It is absolutely solid. And this, okay, that is blade flex right there, and there is absolutely no play in any direction. Lockup is solid. Every one of these knives so far, except for the original Appalachian Drifter, the lockup has been perfect, whether it's lock back or this liner lock. Even on that original Appalachian Drifter, the double detent non-locker, in the open position, there's no play there at all. They are very precisely done, and I've not seen any reports of bad action on these knives. Again, the people that are making these knives care about the quality of these knives. So, you know, front flippers, guys, you know, I'm not the biggest front flipper fan. It's just sort of an awkward movement. I kind of like this a little more maybe than a tab type. The only issue I've got with this is the jimping on it, which is there, is a little smooth. The edges, there's plenty, I mean, you can hear, there's plenty of jimping there, but it's not super deep, and it's a little smooth to me. And you can see right now, my hands are sort of moist. I've got some oil on my hands, so it's a little slick for me right now, and I'm still learning the feel, the technique on this opening system. So you know, again, I'm not the biggest front flipper fan, but that's a beautiful, beautiful knife. I mean, I can't get past just how beautiful these knives are. You know, for somebody that most of his collection is ball bearing flippers, very modern, tactical type of stuff, I've just totally fallen in love with these designs from Civivi, and they are absolutely my favorite design from Civivi, a company known for doing from ball bearing flippers. These traditionals are my favorite from this company, and that is crazy to me. So, action-wise, everything is good on it. Let's go into ergos and utility. It's a clip point blade. It's very thin behind the edge, hollow ground, piercy point here, guys. I mean, that is extremely piercy. The edge is just so well done, as all of these knives have been. And just everything that we love about a clip point is here in this knife. Piercing, slicing, it's just all there. You've got, look at all of this beautiful gradual belly here rising up towards that tip. You've got some nice flat straight edge here. If you want to choke up on this knife and do some detail work up there, that's great. If you want to use the tip, you could do, detailed cutting with the tip. It's just the clip point. I used to be more of a drop point person. I still love drop points, but I've totally, in the last about 5 years, just fallen in love all over again with the clip point blade profile. Ergos, as far as the handle goes, it is radially machined. Everything is smooth. Everything is chamfered. It is a wide open design here. So your grip right here, reverse grip is fine. Of course, I've got medium large hands, meaning my hand volume is large, my finger length is medium, and you can see here I've got plenty enough to grip onto in my, I would consider be sort of entry into the large hand size. So I think large hand guys are going to be okay. Sasquatch hand guys, this might be a little small, but it's meant to be small. It is a slightly sub 3-inch blade length. Your handle length at 3 7/8 inch, coming in under 4 inches. It's never going to be any bigger than what it is. You've got to know that going in. So if you've got extra large hands, keep that in mind. It's going to be more hand filling than your typical traditional slip joint is, which would be smaller. But it's never going to be like a big hand filling tool-y sort of knife. Again, lighter, moderate use, gentleman's carry. This is a knife that you take out and people are going to look at it and go, wow, that's really nice, and it's not scary looking. For the non-knife people, this is something that their dad or their granddad might have carried, not something that a tactical, Ranger Delta Ninja sniper would carry. So as far as ergos on the handle, I cannot complain there. If it was some ultra stabby, tactical-y sort of knife, of course, I would want a finger choil. That is, as far as Baz on Blades is concerned, a must-have in that type of knife. But here in this knife, I think it just comes together and it flows and it is ultimately usable. Ultimately usable, no matter what iteration of this design you get a hold of. So ergos and utility are perfectly fine on this knife. All right. It's not strange to me that as I grow older, I become more and more enamored of these designs that I associate with my youth and older gentlemen that were around me in my youth. It's not I'm not romanticizing things, but there is something there, an association with a different time in this world. These knives, throughout their evolution, have been so very pleasing, whether it's the original two-hand lock back, no pocket clip that came with a leather slip for the pocket, whether it's that version of the Rustic Gent, of course the stainless Damascus version of the Rustic Gent was the same thing. It comes in a slip also. no pocket clip, and I absolutely loved that these did not have pocket clips. But some people didn't like that, and they wanted a pocket clip. So we got the first Appalachian Drifter with a pocket clip, and it's the same pocket clip that is on the 2 here. You know, and you got that in the double detent non-locker for, you know, somebody that wanted something that was non-locking, or you lived in an area that does not allow a lock-in blade. But so far, I mean, every iteration of this knife has just been wonderful. And the Appalachian Drifter 2 is no different. Every evolutionary step of this design has been wonderful. Slightly different, aimed at a slightly different crowd. Honestly, I don't know what else they could do with this design. I'm going to tell you what I would like to see. I would like to see this design blown up to full size in a 3.5 to 3.6 inch blade length. The same knife, just bigger. Same types of materials. You could do with and without the pocket clip. I mean, they've already sold me 4 of these knives. This is the only knife I've ever bought 4 of. Now, they're different models, they've got different names, but it's the same knife. It's the same profile, it's the same design overall. So I've got 4 of these knives now. And it really, it's speaking to me at a level that I overcome. You know, I don't typically buy multiples of knives. I mean, usually the most you'll ever see in my collection is 2 of one knife, and that is few and far between because there's so many other knives out there to buy. But this is just really, it's spoken to my inner old man apparently. And my inner old man was like, just buy another one of those. That's okay. You ain't got no woman. You ain't got no woman. She's not going to say anything. You buy 100 of them. So there you go, guys. Again, highly recommended, as I have highly recommended every iteration of the evolutionary growth of this design. Civivi, give us a bigger one. Give me 4 more to buy. I don't care. I'll buy them all. I have a whole collection of these. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And that's about all there is to it. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.